Here's another sample from my first collection, which is called Thank You, My Friends, the 5-Year Plan. This is called Tractor Lust. We own a country house on a bit over 3 acres, an acre of house, outbuildings and yard, an acre of woods, and an acre of pasture. When we bought the property, it had been vacant and mostly abandoned for 7 years. At least half the property was unreachable because of wisteria vines that had taken over. There were 3 boats, 2 jet skis, a Willys Jeep, and no, I don't know where it is now, and dozens of utility poles stored on the property. There was a burn pile so high it threatened to ignite an overhanging tree, 3 truckloads of scrap metal, and a swimming pool with only 3 feet of mud in the bottom, plus snakes and frogs. A 30 by 40 shop was filled with welding equipment, tools, paint cans, wood scraps, and various family treasures, which we added to the burn pile over a few weeks. After igniting separate portions of the burn pile over a period of weeks, I discovered that part of the reason it was so high was that a 4-foot-high mound of dirt, about 15 feet in diameter, had been pushed up with the tractor. So I now have a giant, weedy pitcher's mound in my backyard and no tractor. I have a neighbor with a nice tractor. He has 15 acres and uses his tractor several times a week. He even used it to brush hog a side yard of mine last year. For those of you from the city, a brush hog is a mowing attachment towed behind a tractor. It has huge, powerful blades that cut through bushes, vines, small trees, and even bowling balls. We found some pieces of bowling balls discovered in the chopped remains of the brush when he was done, and I have no idea why there were bowling balls in my yard. Unfortunately, after he brush hogged half of the lot, he told me he would come back and finish the rest after I'd cleaned up the debris from the first pass. I cleaned it up over a few weeks, he never made it back, and the brush began to take over again. He's a busy guy, and I'm hesitant to ask him to come back and repeat the process. I have a friend across the street with a tractor, but it's not running, so that's it. I need my own. My wife and I attended the Great State Fair of Texas this past October. Yes, that is its official title. And there was a display of John Deere tractors with attachments beside one of the livestock barns. I climbed up on a medium-sized one with a brush hog attached and immediately felt that my manhood was confirmed. My wife felt only that my love of large, expensive toys was confirmed, though she was glad to see me so happy. Now, I have no idea what all the pedals and levers on this tractor do, except that there was one pedal for forward motion and one for reverse. And there's probably a brake down there somewhere. And I know there's some button, knob, or lever that controls a power takeoff, or PTO, which I think is a spindle that powers attachments. I'm pretty sure tractors run on diesel fuel and that a small one costs several times more than my first car, which was, by the way, a used 1975 Chevy Monza in orange for $2,200. The coolest tractor is obviously John Deere. Why else would there be a song about it? Maybe you're familiar with it, John Deere Green. In case you haven't heard it, it's about a country boy who paints his girlfriend's name on the town water tower, of course in John Deere Green. The most compelling reason to own John Deere equipment as opposed to Ford, International Harvester, Kubota, Mahindra, is that only John Deere owners are authorized to wear the JD Gimme Cap. John Deere lawn equipment ownership does not qualify. I'm pretty sure that my local Rural King wouldn't sell me a JD cap without proof of ownership, and if I were caught wearing a black market JD cap, the rural fashion police would drag me right out of the feed store and force me to shovel manure for 12 hours in the barn of a real John Deere man. My dream? I want to dig a hole. A big hole with a scoop attachment, then use the bulldozer blade to push the remains of my burn pile into it. So obviously I need 2 attachments right there. But I also need to mow my back acre of pasture and the half-acre side patch of whatever. So I need my own brush hog. Most importantly though, I wonder what sort of car stereo setup would work well on my tractor. I'll need surface mount outdoor speakers and some kind of housing for the head unit and amplifier. But where would I mount the subwoofer cabinet? These questions must be answered. I'm also a bit concerned about the music I'd play while driving the tractor. I'm not a big fan of country, except for Willie, Johnny, and Vince. And I wonder if the tractor would slow down if I put on smooth jazz. Maybe it would run faster if I put on some punk, or the engine would begin to bang if I played metal. And if I put on rap, would it rebel against my control? The most important question to be answered before I can really shop for a tractor is, when will my wife say it's okay? We recently bought her a new SUV, so maybe next year. In the meantime, I'm on Craigslist looking at used tractors for sale in East Texas and trying not to covet my neighbor's bright new Kubota, or even my other neighbor's ancient International Harvester. Someday, if you visit East Texas, you'll see me on my tractor, pulling out a stump with a tow chain, cutting hay in the back pasture, maybe even digging my own stock pond. My dog, Pert, will be running beside me, barking at the huge animal I appear to be riding, but I won't be able to hear him over the skillet tunes blasting from the sound system. Every hour or so, I'll take off my JD cap, wipe my face with a bandana I keep in my bibs, and say something like, "Boy, I sure hope my neighbor wanted that stump pulled out of his front yard."